Good afternoon, everybody. I am Casey Roloff, co-founder of Seabrook, and I'm excited to share our third quarter update. Hopefully you got to grab some lunch or have something next to you while we go through this, so you can multitask. But again, we're really excited to share all the things happening right now in Seabrook, and this webinar is really designed for people that are new to Seabrook or people that have been following Seabrook and have been considering purchasing out here and maybe not sure. This will hopefully answer some questions for you. This is a really interesting time in real estate. Anybody following the market right now knows that it's a slower market. A lot of people that are, more experts in the field believe that this is kind of going to be a look back. We're going to look back and see that this is a very calm, slower part of the real estate market. But once things kick back into high gear with rates lowering, in the coming months, which is expected. No one has a crystal ball, but it does appear that there's a lot of pent up demand building to get back into the market. So this is a very good time, at least in Seabrook, to think about purchasing because there are a lot of opportunities, and we think that the future is very bright here. So getting into our presentation, this is why we wake up in the morning. Building this town is all about creating these traditions for people that love the coast, love community, and want to really connect with nature, but also have all those urban creature comforts and amenities surrounding them. The best of nature and the best of urban design. And so this is what drives us. It's creating these experiences and creating these spaces that people get to enjoy and, again, build traditions with their friends and family and their neighbors. And that's why we've never been more excited about where Seabrook is going, because I've always kind of described Seabrook as this awkward teenager. We're this little town that's growing up into a mature town, and every great town in the world started somewhere. They didn't just all of a sudden appear. These towns grew over time and evolved and matured and got a patina and added more and more layers to it as the town grew. And Seabrook every single year is just getting better and better as it ages and grows and evolves. So this just showing what placemaking is all about. This is obviously our main street, our town center. It's about half of our town center, and it really creates these great experiences for a farmer's market or a Saturday market or a music event. And this is where people love to meet. In fact, I think it was last weekend we had Bigfoot Brewfest, or 2 weekends ago, Bigfoot Brewfest, another popular event out here. But everything is designed here to interact with your neighbors, meet new people, and again, have great experiences. And we're all in on making sure that happens. Not just us as a company, Seabrook Land Company, but every single business owner here, every restaurant owner, every server. Our job is to serve you and create a memorable time for you. So also what Seabrook is all about is walkability and bikeability. And this is how people are getting around more and more. You're seeing a lot more electric bikes, a lot more people walking. Our streets were designed so that pedestrians are in charge. So cars have to move very slowly and yield to cyclists and people walking right down the middle of the street. So if you've spent time here, that our streets are very pedestrian friendly. And that's an experience most people just don't see very often, especially in today's with our development patterns today and more suburban design. We see grandparents and parents that have young children. They feel this freedom here because our streets are safe and they're not these dangerous places that we have to stay away from. And that's one of the things that makes Seabrook so unique. So just kind of recapping the last 21 years, we've built about 600 homes to date, anywhere from small cottages to luxurious homes on the ocean front, and everything in between. We have over 20 parks, 24 shops and restaurants, a full-size grocery store, which is a real game changer for our town, making it really easy to live here full-time or part-time. And we'll talk more about that. Over 14 neighborhoods. Again, all of these public spaces like the amphitheater, which is where we have our Sunset Concert Series. This incredible outdoor saltwater pool that's heated 8 to 87 degrees year round. So this pool is something that you're going to have fun in December and January as much as you're going to have in July and August. And it's been a major hit for our little town. And then also, we're not just about Seabrook. We are, one of our core values is our neighbors matter. And that's why we created the Seabrook Community Foundation, which is our 501c3. We've put almost $8 million into our community foundation, which supports our local schools, our food banks, emergency services, college scholarships. We do around $250,000 plus just in college scholarships every single year. And it's something that really connects us with our neighbors and our local communities, and that's something that we will always be a part of. But looking forward, and why we're so excited about this future for Seabrook is that we are really crescendoing into a complete town. So from this place that was just a little vacation town where you spend a weekend or a week in the summer, to a place that people are going to be elbowing each other saying, hey, we could live here. Where are you going to find a place that's walkable on the Pacific Ocean, where you can meet your neighbors and connect with friends with such ease? And that's what Seabrook, again, it cultivates. It, because of the design, because of the way the blocks are put together and the streets are put together, it really allows you to thrive, whether you're vacationing here or whether you're living here full time. So the big game changers are we're going to be doubling the number of shops and restaurants over this next 3-year period. There's a new fund from the state of Washington to build a brand new school that will most likely be a grade school and a middle school. They've already closed on the land and they've already started the design process. And that's going to be right down the street from our little town. So making it easier for young families to raise a family out here. Also, we're adding indoor pickleball courts. We just broke ground on our walk-in medical clinic, which is, again, about a half mile to 3/4 mile away from Seabrook. We're also adding lots of new trails. We have a full-time trail crew for both hiking trails and mountain biking trails. We have over 25 miles of trails and pathways right now. And probably the biggest news right now is that we're adding a short course, which is a par 3 golf course. We have a lot of people that come out here say, I'd live out there or I'd vacation out there more if you guys had a golf course. And so we're teaming up with one of the top golf course designers and actually a member of a professional golfer from the Northwest that is very interested in Seabrook and wants to be a part of this new golf course. And then finally, a community center. Our Seabrook Community Foundation is working towards building a community center that will be right next to our school and right next to Seabrook, which will add more facilities, gyms, indoor basketball courts, swimming pools, making it, again, more livable out here for full-timers and part-timers. But to really understand why Seabrook has been so successful and been so resilient over the last 21 years, you really have to look at the demographics and why this is such a unique opportunity and why there's such high barriers to entry. So when we came up here, Laura and I, about 23 years ago, and started purchasing the land, no one really thought anything was going to happen up here until they put in a brand new public sewer system and brand new public water system, and allowed this kind of growth to happen where you could actually build a fully sustainable, walkable beach town. And the reason we were so excited about this spot is that we spent a lot of time in college in Olympic National Park along the coastline, and we just simply fell in love with this part of the state. And so when we purchased the site, we also looked at U.S. Census data, and we found that there was 5 times the household wealth and over double the population within a 3-hour driving radius when you compare to Cannon Beach. Cannon Beach is the most popular beach town. We were actually living down on the central Oregon coast when we purchased the land, and we're dreaming about building a town. And but it just didn't make sense on the Oregon coast because there was more people in this region, and there was more household wealth, and we backed up to a national park that we fell in love with in college. So it really had all the key ingredients to building a world-class beach town. If you don't know much about Olympic National Park, part of the reason is there's not a lot of places to stay around Olympic National Park, but it is actually the 8th most visited national park. We get people from all over the world every year. So if you're up in the national park at the lodges or around Lake Crescent or Lake Quinault or at Ruby Beach, you're going to run into people from all over the world that are coming out to the Northwest and wanting to see Olympic National Park firsthand. There's 63 national parks, so that's a pretty high ranking, and it just every year is growing more and more in population. All this said, there's less than 5% of our state's population that has physically been to Seabrook. So we are just scratching the surface. Even though we've sold 600 homes so far, there's still a lot of people. We hear it every day from our homeowners that they're trying to spread the word, and they just can't believe how many people they talk to that don't even have a clue this place exists. And so our job is to get the word out, and we're working really hard to partner and of course market and really promote our little beach town that is coming to completion here very soon. To put it in perspective, this is the closest thing to a Carmel moment that our state's ever going to have. So if you're familiar with Carmel on the California coast, it's a 700-acre oceanfront town that's built, and one of the most desirable beach towns in America. And it's 120 miles from the #1 highest U.S. median income in the country. We're just 10 miles more in distance, and we're close to the #3 highest median income in the country. So it only makes sense that Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, Redmond, Kirkland, they needed a great oceanfront town, and that is what we're building, and that is why we're here. And we think really we're just getting started and kind of again scratching the surface. We're not the only ones making this comparison to Carmel. This is Forbes on the left-hand side, and then Travel and Leisure on the other on the right-hand side, really making that connection. And they know what's happening out here. They're familiar with these beach towns, and they understand what happens to property values. I mean, if we could have all gone back to Carmel 50 years ago, or depends on how old you are, but I'm 53. I would have been a little young buying real estate. But the point is that the real estate values have just gone up and up and up. When you have these very iconic, idyllic beach towns, they become major draws for people to live and for people to vacation. And Forbes and Travel and Leisure are really validating that for us. But to really become a world-class beach town, we have to keep going. While we've built a lot and a lot of the heavy lifting is done here, we still have some more work to do. And the first and most important job is completing the town center, which is why these next 3 years are so critical. But as you can see on the list here, we have an irreplaceable site close to a major metro area, national park, and then lots of public space or natural space. So while Seabrook is about 750 acres, over 400 of those acres will be held in open space, parks, and trails for owners and guests that visit Seabrook. But we have incredible infrastructure, brand new sewer system, brand new water system. We have fiber in the road. So this is a place where you can work remotely and have a very good connection, probably a better connection than what you're going to get if you live in the city right now, because there's just less demand. And then we've our team here is on site, so we don't live in other areas. We literally have been raising our family here for the last 20 plus years, and this is our life. It's not just a job. These are the places that we're spending with our families, and it's very important to us. So if you've walked around Seabrook before and experienced Seabrook, hopefully you feel there's an authenticity that you don't normally find in a new community. And that's because we live here and we care so much about this place. And then, of course, adding the golf course is not just a short course, but we're also working on a championship course, which would be an 18-hole course. And we're working on 3 different sites to try to make that happen. But we know the demand is there. There's over 30 golf courses on the Oregon coast, and there's only 1 golf course on the Washington coast, which is in Ocean Shores. So we know the demand is there, and Seabrook is living proof of how much pent-up demand there was for a beach town, and we believe the same pent-up demand is for a golf course or a couple of golf courses. Also, we're going to be building a private oceanfront beach club and building a luxury hotel and spa that will also include branded residences. And we're in negotiations right now with one of the top 4 luxury brands in the world. And they've already been here. They've loved it. And we're completing our market study. And they're saying this is one of the most desirable new locations to build a luxury hotel and a spa. So, but again, getting to the really important focus for us, and that's completing the town center. So on the right-hand side and to the east here, you see the town center with the Saturday market. This is on the right-hand side, Pacific Landing, before the buildings were painted. And then on the left-hand side, this is virtual reality. But we are pushing very, very hard. And I'll show you some progress images next. This is another angle looking down the main street, all these new shops and restaurants coming into the town that will just really complete the town and, again, check all the boxes so you can live here, weeks at a time without even needing to get into your car. And that is our goal, is to make your lifestyle so easy that you don't have to get in your car and drive unless you really want to, that you'll meet all those basic needs. So this is showing the construction going on the Sunset District, or in the Sunset District block. This is our largest block, and it's going to really complete Seabrook when it's done. You can see Coco's over here, which is our most popular restaurant. They're about to move into their new space, which is 2.5 times the size of current Coco's. This is the corner right across, and then on the left-hand side where Coco's is going in, it's going to have direct views out to the ocean. It's going to be a beautiful new restaurant. And then we have another restaurant planned for this corner. And again, we just did the dig out. And then we have 5 luxury residences above the restaurant, again, all looking out at the ocean. And they're also all southwest facing, which is very desirable here at the coast. And then a couple blocks east of Sunset District, we have, there we go. We have our Newhart building. So if you're my age and you remember the old Bob Newhart show, this building was kind of, inspired by that. We want it to be this great place, again, to hang out with friends and family. This is designed with 9 rooms in it that people can rent out for corporate retreats and weddings, family reunions. Every bedroom has its own private bathroom, so they're almost like little hotel rooms within the building. And then on the ground floor, we have a new retail space that we'll be announcing in the very near future who's going in there. But then getting back to the golf, just showing some inspiration for the par 3 course, which we're, again, moving forward on as fast as we can. The property is already entitled, meaning it's already approved to build a golf course, so we don't have to go through environmental hurdles to get this done. And this will also be managed and maintained at the highest level for sustainability, and minimizing fertilizers and chemicals. But this is just showing some of the inspiration. And then this shows where the short course is actually going to be going, and then also a new pickleball facility. So if you've been out here and you know where Fernwood is and Fernwood Station, it's right here in this bottom right-hand corner. You can see the barn over here to the left, just to give you some sense of where this is. But this is probably less than a 5-minute walk from Fernwood Square. So very, very convenient for our town, and it's going to really, again, be a great amenity for Seabrook. And just east of the golf course, which is basically this left section, this is where Makers Village is going in, and this is where we're going to have artisans and handcrafted products from leather makers, glass blowers, chocolate makers, ice cream makers, jewelry makers. And it's not just going to be a place for artists, but it's also going to be a place where homeowners and guests can, learn how to do some of these crafts. So if you lived here full time, you could take ceramics classes every week. You could come into the workshop and work on projects, have all the equipment, or also like a wood shop where you can work on projects and not have to have those things in your garage. So these are going to be spaces that cater to our owners, cater to our guests, and also have these artists surrounding it that are doing the classes and making their own goods for sale. We also are making a lot of progress on the new farm, which is Schultz Farm, and this is their new logo. We couldn't be more excited about this family that's building this farm. They actually moved here from Eastern Washington, and they have other family here that lives in Seabrook. And this will be a fully regenerative farm. There'll be classes out here, farm to table dinners, and we're already taking compost from the town out to the regenerative farm, and then they're growing vegetables, and they'll be selling it back to people that live in town, shops, restaurants, grocery store. So again, very excited. As I mentioned earlier, we broke ground on our walk-in medical clinic that will really be leveraging telemedicine. So obviously medicine's changed dramatically, and to live out here full time, we can make it very easy using telemedicine and a local on-site nurse practitioner or physician that's facilitating that call with the specialist to decide if you really need to go in and see that specialist, or maybe just, you don't need to see that specialist. I always use the example of my ear. I've got an ear issue, and I could bring my surgeon from University of Washington up on that screen with my nurse practitioner. She could put a scope in my ear, and he could see it and see if there's anything going on that's worthy of coming in or not coming in. So again, the telemedicine is going to make it a lot easier for people to live out here full time and having that on site. Again, we talked about the funding for the new school. It's about a $40 million fund to build a brand new school, and our community is very involved in the design process. We have a lot of volunteers that we call them Friends of Pacific Beach Elementary, and they are helping with the design. They also volunteer reading with the kids, doing math with the kids, and just being mentors down at our school. So it's going to be a really neat opportunity for, again, young families to move out here and be a part of it. The community center is, again, going to be the main sponsor will be our community foundation, and this will be right within the same proximity of the new medical clinic and the new school. And really catering to multi-generational living, people that want to live out here with their moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles. That is how we used to live before we started spreading out. And so as the world gets more complicated, more and more people are going to want to live close together, and Seabrook is going to be a haven for people that want to live in close proximity with their families. Some may run a business out here, some may work remotely, some may be retired, but we really are catering to, again, this more multi-generational lifestyle. Thankfully, my mother-in-law lived here, my mother's lived here, my grandmother lived here, so my kids got to grow up with their great grandma being, right in town within close proximity, and got to spend a lot of time with her. So we're going to be building more and more infrastructure to support that. So now that you know what's coming for Seabrook, maybe you're someone that's thinking like, okay, what do I do now? If I want to be a part of this, I want to be, a part of this evolution of Seabrook. And I'm going to share with you some of the opportunities right now. So in the town center, in the Sunset District, we just broke ground on 3 of our townhouses that have these sweeping views of the ocean, and they're 4-bedroom houses. We've sold this end unit here, and then there's 2 available. I'll show you a little close-up of that. So these are the 2 that are available here. These houses have elevators in them, and again, panoramic views of the ocean. So you've got all the amenities of the town center, but then also these panoramic views of the ocean, all within very close proximity. This is looking back. We have 2 flats. This one is sold. This one is available. This middle unit here is available. So if you have interest in that, let us know. We're happy to answer questions. I think this is a real sleeper. You wouldn't think this has a great ocean view, but when you actually go up on a lift, this has an unobstructed view of the ocean that will never be obstructed. So you look right down to the sandy beach and the surf from both of these residences. And then across the street in Pacific Landing, we have only 2 remaining residences out of the 13. One of them is here on the corner, and we actually have a couple interested parties in this right now. And then we have this third one down. These have fantastic ocean views, but they're also very luxurious residences. I got some images of that next. This is also where Coco's Restaurant's going in, and then we have 2 new shops moving in, and then Base Camp just moved in this summer. So here's some interior images showing the furnishings. Of course, these houses are staged, and because these are now complete, we are offering 3.9% financing on these. So very rare to get that kind of financing right now. But we want to make it attractive. Again, this is a slower market, a little softer market than what we're used to. And so it's a great time to buy because there are incentives that you won't be getting when the market starts to pick up again. Now shifting our focus to the Fernwood neighborhood, which is our most active neighborhood as far as new construction. So it's really Sunset District and Fernwood that are the most active right now. You can see the amenities that are going into the Fernwood neighborhood, but it also has our largest park. It's right next to the mountain bike park. So it's just a really great place to be on the edge of town, but also have, within an easy bike ride, about a 10 to 15 minute walk from Fernwood Square into the town center. So if you're someone trying to get your steps in, this is the perfect place to live. So this is showing Fernwood, and then just to the north is where that golf course, the short course, is being designed right now. And then you can see the mountain bike trails right next to Fernwood to the east. This is a 160-acre mountain bike park designed and built by Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. And you can also see the 25 miles of trails and pathways, these little orange and black trails. I mean, we live on these trails when we're not working. We love spending time out in the forest and just walking through nature when we're not in town and not at home. So if you haven't experienced that, definitely take the time to do it. And then you can see the regenerative farm here to the east, and then more future ground that's Department of Natural Resources for future trails as the town continues to grow. So we have hundreds and hundreds of acres of open space that really wrap around Seabrook and make it a special place. This is showing the new Spoke Cafe, which will be a little place to, grab a coffee, grab and go, food items, making it really easy to meet your basic needs in Fernwood. If you don't want to come into town, basic essentials. So we're very excited about that. And then we also have our garden home site. So for people that want more space, more elbow room, Fernwood is a great neighborhood for that. If you want to have your own gardens and maybe even a swimming pool, we just are completing a house right now with a swimming pool that we think it will actually be one of our most popular houses in Seabrook when it's complete. So you can see the garden home sites here. Actually, that house that just got built with the pool is right here on the corner. There's another new house you can see where it was being cleared here that's going up, and it's already painted. That's pre-sold. So the Fernwood neighborhood is filling in, and we're really excited to see this neighborhood continue to come alive. And then in Fernwood Station, this is our cottage neighborhood. where you can get a very small cottage at our lowest prices. From a 2-bedroom house, which is right here on the lower right-hand corner, to our smallest cottages, which are basically like a 400 square foot, 1-bedroom cottage. And we always are saying out here, when you have all these urban experiences, um, shops and restaurants and amenities within walking distance, you really don't need that much space in your house when you live in a walkable neighborhood. So a small cottage here for a weekender or even a place to live here part-time can make a lot of sense for a lot of our homeowners. And you can see all the homes that are here that are sold, and then the houses that actually have the 3.9% financing on them, lot 736, lot 737. And then this is showing a view from the Sunset District, where those townhouses were I was showing you a little bit earlier, to give you a sense of what those views are like from the 3rd and 4th levels, which is basically where the living, kitchen, dining, and one of the primary suites are. And you can see why we're, again, very excited about this block and this new neighborhood. So thank you for taking the time to learn more about Seabrook and why we believe this is going to be a world-class beach town when we're done. And we'd love to have you join us on this journey and be a part of it. So if you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to sales@seabrookwa.com. Holly, Megan, they would love to show you around Seabrook and share these new construction opportunities with you. We also have a great collection of resale homes that are available if you're someone that doesn't want to wait for a house to be built. But again, we're happy to take care of you. And I also give town tours most weekends. We give usually tours Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And if you have time to join us, we'd love to share the nuances of town design with you and why we again are so passionate about this place. So thanks again for taking the time, and we hope to see you out at the beach soon.